Hi everyone, my name is Matt. I'm the sales director of OpenPricer. I will have the hard duty of starting. So welcome and thank you very much. We have now more than 20 people following this webinar, and I hope that more will join us. The goal of this webinar is to present, based on transportation cases, the key concepts and applications of customer-centric pricing. OpenPricer developed its unique software solution based on an innovative technology. Customer-centric pricing is the new generation of revenue management. Our experience in implementing pricing software for 10 years gives us this view of the market maturity regarding pricing tools. The first step is where most of the companies are today, I would say 70%. There is no process, decisions are based on gut feel. And when there is a pricing department, people are doing miracles with standalone tools like Microsoft Excel or Access. There was no investment in a pricing software, so there is no ROI. The second step of maturity, where almost 20% of the companies are, is reached when companies implement their price policies in a pricing software, monitor deals profitability, start using a workflow. At this step, there is a pricing manager in place who gets full support of his CEO, who has identified pricing as a priority area. There is a huge increase in margin points, sometimes in less than 6 months. The ROI, of course, is excellent. The third step is price optimization software, where only a few are today. I would say less than 10%. Price is optimized continuously, with real-time access to the data warehouse and full integration with other enterprise softwares. We have never seen anyone jumping directly from stage 1 to stage 3. This is like having the intention of building a financial analysis system when your accounting software is Excel. As I promised, it was my short introduction, and now I will let Daniel go deeper in the subject. Customer-centric pricing, the case of the transportation industry.
Yes, thank you, Matthieu. So let's start by the basics. What is exactly the definition of customer-centric pricing, and what's the evolution that we can see in pricing on these last years? So customer-centric pricing is a little bit a new paradigm, and in many years, when you talk about pricing, it was pricing the product. So basically the pricing was really product-centric. And you see here that this sales curve where the sales volume is decreasing with price, and marketing and pricing job is to find the optimal price that gives a maximum profit. So this was really product-centric pricing. And there was an evolution. So the first evolution that I have really seen when I was working for Air France 15 years ago was the introduction of differential pricing, which is really to understand that there are different segments in the market. In this case, we have shown only two segments, business and leisure, for instance, and that for each one of these segments need a special, there are different requirements, and they need a special different price sensitivity. So basically in this case, it's the macro segmentation stage where we define a price for a product, but for a given segment. And this evolution has continued, and in the recent years we have seen a lot of research on micro segmentation, which basically is not to propose only to define a couple of segments, but it's really to have thousands of segments. Basically, you can imagine to have to partition your customer bases in between more than 1,000 segments. That's microsegmentation, and for each one of these micro segments, there is really a specific pricing optimization and an optimal price for each one of these micro segments. And at the end of the process, you really understand now that the logical evolution is to customer-centric pricing, which will be to really understand exactly the requirements of each one of your customers individually and find the right price for each customer. So this is the picture of the concept now. If we take a look at the definition of the topic, is about maximizing customer lifetime value, so CLV. Customer lifetime value will be the margin which is generated by the customer through its entire business relation with the supplier. And of course, the topic will be to focus on the customer, to think about all the future relationship between the customer and the enterprise, rather than focusing strictly on a short-term profit generated by a given sales transaction. Once we understand this concept, we can picture how to apply customer-centric pricing, and there are really 4 different processes. So you see in this picture that time is a very important dimension on customer-centric pricing, because we'll try to maximize lifetime value of the customer. The first process is about acquiring the customer, and the customer acquisition will have typically a cost. Then there will be a time where you have the payback, and then you generate the value and margin. Second topic is about raising the price, because in many cases, and we'll see examples from the transportation industry, where the initial price should be adapted, because in some cases the volume of the customer is not reaching the expectations. The third process is about extending the business. In many industries they call it cross-selling or upselling, but in the transportation industry we talk about selling new products, new destinations to the customer. And the last process is renewing the contract, if there is a formal contract anniversary date, or trying to retain the customer. So retaining is something which is very important in industries like, for instance, banking or telecoms. It has less emphasis on transportation, but I think it also applies to transportation. So you can think about customer-centric pricing as a way to optimize these 4 phases of the customer lifetime, using price as a lever to do it. Now, which are the criteria to apply customer-centric pricing? In which environments or conditions customer-centric pricing is something which is pertinent? So there are different conditions to apply it. I think the first condition is to have contracts with long-term relationship. This is of course the case in most B2B environments, but also in some B2C environments like banking or telecoms, it's the case. The second criteria to apply customer-centric pricing is when you have a customization of the services. I mean, when you're selling a product, you know, the product is the same for all the customers. When you're selling a service, you may have different commitments. You may have different parameters of your commitments, and you may have specific rate plans for your customers. The third criteria is the complexity of the cost model and the pricing structure, the rate plans. If you have complex cost models, you will see later on that each customer will carry a different cost. Basically, there is no a cost of a product for a customer, but there is really a cost which may depend on a variety of factors that are different from customer to customer. And we'll see that the profitability will vary from customer to customer, and also the value of your offer will be different from customer to customer, depending on the local situation and how you can compare to competitors. Customer-centric pricing is very important in environments where you need to monitor the commitments of your customer. If there is an initial commitment that will drive a given price to the customer, and then there is a certainty about the compliance of the profile of the customer to its commitment. So there is a need to monitor the contract, and customer-centric pricing will play a great role. And the last point is about attrition or churn, which in environments where we have a probability of attrition, we should think about pricing as a lever also to reduce this risk. We are going to focus on the transportation markets, and we'll see that the transportation markets are very diverse. So small package air freight, ocean freight, rail, postal networks, 3PL operations. So in all these markets, you may have spot deals, trades and contracts, and customer-centric pricing will of course be very important for contracts. So the second part of the presentation is about order or usage profile. In the transportation industry, they call it the shipment profile. So this plays a great role because, of course, when you take a look about optimizing the revenue of a customer, the profitability of a customer, you need to understand which factors will drive customer profitability and offer value also. And of course, we'll see that there are a lot of factors which are implied in this equation. You have a lot of different possible variations of the service. The second thing about the order or usage profile is that in transportation you have a lot of possible variations of what you're producing. These are the flows. So we are talking here about huge amount of data. In the case of some operators, some clients, we may have up to 1 million shipment lines per year. If you take a big shipper, he will give to a transportation company up to 1 million shipments per year. The third tool about customer centric pricing is about the profitability of the customer. So the next tool I want to show you is about the value of your offer for the customer, which I think is as much important or even more important than the cost. The issue here is to know how to estimate the specific value of your offer compared to a competitor. So are you on the same line of your competition? Do you need to align with competition, or do you have an advantage or disadvantage? It means that you have to adapt your price and think about a premium or a premium on the competition. The first process is acquire process, which means that how can I use this information to adjust the quote based on specific cost and offer value of a given customer. The second process I wanted to present is the raise process. So raise means rate increase, assessment and enforcement. In transportation industry, and I think it's the same for many other areas, there is a contract which is defined with the customer given some expectations in terms of traffic, in terms of product mix, in terms of geographical destinations and so on. And then you see that these expectations in terms of business sometimes are not complied. So there is a need in this case to sometimes to raise the price of the customer, to adjust the price. So the objective will be in this case to rationalize rate increases based on different things. So the first ingredient is the peer price model that I will present to you, which will allow quickly to, by comparing the price of a customer with his peers, comparable customers, to detect those customers that are paying less than what they should pay. The other factor will be profitability analysis, of course, compliance with commitments, and the offer value versus competition. So, and to put on top of that an enforcement workflow, and to monitor results of the rate increases. So this is the raise process that we are putting in place with our customers. So to finish the presentation, remind you that customer-centric pricing is about optimizing the lifetime value of the customer, that there are 4 basic pricing processes involved: acquire, raise, that you have just seen, extend, which is new business development, cross-sell, upsell, renew, retain, which is to ensure that you don't lose a customer and that you renew a new contract with him at a very good conditions. So thank you very much for your attention.
Contact us if you'd like to know more about how OpenPricer help companies increase their profits through smart pricing. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel or iTunes podcast to receive upcoming videos about pricing. Thanks for watching this video, and see you soon on openpricer.com.